Board of Selectmen's meeting. Today is October 24th, 2017. If we could all pledge allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Tonight's agenda is devoted with this primarily, there are a couple of other issues that will be discussed, but primarily to the warrant for the town meeting scheduled for 14 November 2017. The intent is for the board to review this warrant and make any adjustments or amendments before we sign to have it posted. We are required by law to have it posted and due notice for the citizens. So anyway, if we could start, before we start, is there anything anybody wants to go over? We're all set. You have a new item business? Right, so we'll get to that after this. Okay, so what I'd like to do is just go through the article without going in and reading every word of it, just specify the intent of the article and what its purpose is, and then open it up to debate on each one, and then we'll move on. So the first one is first article is to amend title Chapter 25 Revolving Funds. It was brought up at the town meeting by a resident that he felt clearly that the revolving fund should be duly posted in the annual town report, and that would mean that individual departments such as recreation, library, and I don't want to name them all, but there are many that have revolving accounts, that those would be posted and duly noted within the town annual report, and that's what that's for. Do we have any comment to that at all?
I think it makes common sense. I think it's uses that word everybody likes, transparency.
Yeah, I think that our annual report really is need of a little bit of an overhaul, so this is a good excuse to go ahead and address that at the same time.
Okay, so that one we're all in agreement. Okay, the Article 2 is to appropriate the amount of $10,000 for prior bills due to the Board of Selectmen's office, and actually it is not truly the Board of Selectmen's office, there's other departments involved. The town manager is going to speak with the treasurer collector tomorrow relative to this. But anyone have any questions relative to this at this point?
I know there was a lot of questions about this at the FinCom meeting last week. Is it whether it's going to be a 9/10 vote?
Right.
And if we need to look into the debit cards, and, tracking how people are spending money in departments.
Correct.
Yeah, I think moving forward, we look at an issue like this, I think moving forward, and Derek Brindisi and I had talked about this, I think PO orders are one way that we could probably curb an issue like this of arising in the future, so that, that may be something we can look to.
But to be clear, this is more a maintenance issue. There are no violations or omissions. This is strictly a maintenance issue to those amounts. So we're all in agreement to leave that in, correct?
Yep.
Okay, number 3 is law regulated cultivation. Well, let me just simplify it. Moratorium on marijuana. Basically, if we vote to put a moratorium in, that means we will put a hold on any potential operations of marijuana coming in the town. If we do not vote this April of next year, anybody that wants has the right and the authority to open up a store within the boundaries of the town of Upton to sell marijuana. Yes.
Just to amend that, just so the folks are clear, this is for recreational marijuana. This is not for medicinal marijuana. So this is a moratorium on any retailer who wants to open up a recreational marijuana shop.
Just the board. Gary, any comment?
No, sir.
Seems straightforward.
Mr. Flaherty?
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question of the manager, is that some of these towns, like Milford, just had a referendum, a vote to what's the difference between doing this and having a vote?
So if you want to limit, restrict, or prohibit, then you have to go to the ballot for this type of effort. If this moratorium is basically saying we don't know what we want to do, we don't have any laws, we don't have any zoning laws in place, we don't have any general bylaws in place. So this is allowing us to take a step back. Recently, the Cannabis Control Commission has been appointed by the governor. They will promulgate regulations in March 15th. They will start accepting applications in April, and they will start issuing licenses for the retail sale of recreational marijuana sometime in early June. And so what the moratorium is proposing is that we go through this very cautiously, and we look at kind of the lessons learned, what some other towns are doing or not doing, and then we then consider whether or not do we want to go to ballot and prohibit, like Milford did, they went to ballot. The town is not able to prohibit without going to ballot, because the town voted in favor by a vote of 52% of the voters favored recreational marijuana sales. So because of that, the town has to go to ballot if they want to prohibit this type of operation. Does that make sense?
Simply put, it gives us time to set our rules and put our house in order before we go forward with any initiative. And as you stated, zoning and everything else is impacted, so that is the consensus of yes. The next one's $28,000 for a breathing air compressor for the fire department. Any comment? Gary?
No, sir.
Steve?
None.
Okay, so we're in agreement on that. Article 5 is $9,750 for the planning board to participate in Central Mass Regional Planning Commission. It's a system program. Any comment? Gary?
No.
Steve?
None.
Okay. Article 6, this is to allow the Board of Selectmen to acquire by gift, eminent domain, or any property it deems necessary for, I'll abbreviate this one too. Under the TIP project, where the town has invested to this date, we still have a commitment of $181,000 for easements for the entire TIP project. This means that there are landowners that will be impacted, and the town has the obligation to acquire, negotiate those easements with the landowners. Be clear that this is the town's only involvement. Once the state takes over this project in its entirety, the town of Upton does not control the project, the Mass Highway does, and it will be a total revamp. Our only involvement will be if we upgrade our infrastructure while they are doing it, such as water and others. So this is to complete the project. The town invested $600,000 at the original design work, and I think it's fair to say we could estimate that this is probably about a $13 million project that the state will cover, and there will be no cost to the town beyond this. So certainly to our advantage. Any comment, Gary?
Nope.
Steve?
None.
That one is real easy. The next one is $25,000 to hire a consultant and all expenses for the transportation improvement project. I just mentioned it wouldn't be, I shouldn't have said that emphatic. This project is so complex that we need, for the town's involvement with the state, to have a professional consultant, because it's not fair to assume that a DPW director is going to be able to assess, to involve that amount, time commitment, and that much involvement to complete that process. So again, add that to the 181 and the 600,000, we're still at just around, somewhere around 800,000 to get a $13 million project. So Gary?
No question.
Steve?
Yeah, especially in light of the fact that we just lost our DPW director, I think this is pretty important to step forward with this.
Yep, so we're all in agreement. Great. Article 9 is $4,000 for the Knowlton Racine building for general maintenance and upgrading. This was requested by the library. Any comment? Gary?
I think this money was gonna come from the library wages, right?
That's correct.
Yep, no questions on this, yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
None.
Okay. Article 10, this is CPC, Community Preservation. Without getting into it too far, it's a transfer of funds within the account and to deal with the revenues.
No comment.
No comment? No, okay. Again, 11 is a similar thing. This is for the commitment for the, of the Community Preservation Account to meet the 5th payment of debt service owed in the general bond of the town hall. That, as you know, we didn't raise through taxation. It's in effect borrowed from the Community Preservation Funds, and this is the 5th year payment. Gary?
No comment.
My only question, I suppose, is this is the 5th year payment. How many more payments do we have on that?
15, I think. Yeah. It's got a ways to go.
Okay.
But the good thing is the Community Preservation Account is sustaining itself enough that we can pay through the system. So there's no impact to taxation. Okay, 12, this is to establish a commission on disability within the town of Upton. It's a 5-member committee appointed by town manager with approval of the Board of Selectmen. Gary?
No, I'm in favor for it, so.
Steve?
Favorable, yeah.
Yep, okay. Article 13, this is to change the general bylaws. At present, the election takes place prior to the town meeting. Therefore, and all of us have experienced this, you're a new selectman, you've been in office 1 week and you're standing on the town meeting floor and you don't have the background or the experience. This allows the 3 selectmen, all of whom have had at least 1 year in the position to serve at that town meeting for the general population. I was originally against it, but I now believe it makes sense, so. Gary?
Oh, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I agree. Timing-wise, it's much better to do it this
Yeah.
way.
So that will change the town election with the town meeting so that the person, the selectman would be elected after the town meeting. The election would be after town meeting, I shouldn't say selectman. Okay, Article 14, this is to, and this was, the town manager brought this forward, which makes a lot of sense. At present, in order to accept town land or gifts to the town, the Board of Selectmen, we need to go through town meeting. And this eliminates that. If this bylaw passes, that means if someone wants to donate land to the town, it's at the discretion of the Board of Selectmen, and they can just motion to accept it without going through the process town meeting, which could be 4, 5, 6 months. Agreement?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. 15 is $25,000 from community preservation to upgrade Kiwanis recreational area with the Mass Architectural Board. Gary?
Yes, I'm in favor, yes.
Yes, this will address the railing issue. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes. Okay, and just so it's clear, this is not the first time we've seen this. I know members have been with the FinCom and there's been conversation, so this is not our first night dealing with these. We're quite familiar with them. The other one is $10,000 from Community Preservation Open Space Account for the rehab of a historic schoolhouse on North Street. This was proposed, I believe, by the Historical Commission. Gary?
No, no comment, yeah. But it's their money, so let them do what they want with it.
Well, it's town money, but yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's,
Okay, yeah. 17, and I'm going through these rather quickly, but some of them become a little more redundant. This is $15,000 to the town clerk's wage line item. That position has been totally upgraded. It's gone, I believe, through the process of Personnel Board, the agency that we use, and the job description has changed considerably. Not only that, but the hours of employment as well. So, you have any comment you want to make to that beyond what I just said?
No.
No, okay. Gary?
No, sir. Okay.
I have a little issue with this
Okay.
particular article. You know, I read this, I knew that we were talking about changing the salary, making an amendment. Fundamentally, I don't particularly like to amend wages this early into a fiscal year. I feel like this type of a change in wages really should be done at the annual as opposed to special. You know, and percentage-wise, we're looking at a 24% increase in that wage line item, which, again, we had, you know, quite a battle at the annual town meeting, you know, where there was a 20% adjustment in the wage. So, you know, I think this is going to be tough. I don't think the citizens and taxpayers are going to have a lot of patience for this type of an adjustment in wage this early in a budget cycle.
Well, my comment would be, first of all, it's our obligation to put forward whether we think that people are going to vote for it or not, to say patience. This is a total rewrite of the job description. I'll let the town manager address it, but when the town manager came on, did an evaluation of the responsibilities, and at present, this town, our labor force is so limited that there are so many functions that need to be performed that it's impossible to expect the town manager and/or some other employees to do those. So it was a consolidation of some of the responsibilities. Example, we no longer have an agency overseeing our facilities. So this position will now make that person responsible for facilities director for all the municipal buildings and holdings in the town of Upton. That means dealing with engineers and everybody.
Except the school.
Except the schools. So, to me, it makes sense. We have a job description here that went through due process of going through the Personnel Board, and it went through Human Resources Services Incorporated to look at the job description. I'm in favor of it. So, we'll open it to debate. Gary?
I'm gonna say let the taxpayers decide. It's not for us.
Okay.
I'm in favor too.
Okay, you're opposed to putting it on the warrant? I'll call a motion. Do we have a motion to put it on the warrant?
I make a motion to put it on the.
I would be a no.
I'll second it. You're a no, majority carries. Okay, so it's on. Okay, Article 18, $5,000 supplemental appropriation to the Concom. Gary?
In favor, yeah.
Steve?
Yes.
Article 19 is, this has to do with tax title purposes of sale at auction. We have a piece of land, 0 Westboro Road. It's a parcel of land, basically to effectuate the vote for that, for the board to put that land, if I'm correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, to use that land for general purposes for the town with no restrictions, for future determination, yes.
Right, so the article is basically transferring it from the treasure collector's possession over to the care and custody of the Board of Selectmen for future purposes. So there's, as you pointed out, there's no designation as to what that land will be used for. Right now, it'll be preserved so it doesn't go up for auction down the road.
Okay, Gary?
I'm in favor for it.
I'm in favor,
Okay.
yes. That makes good sense.
Article 20 is an amount to be determined to limit the tax impact on property owners by taking a portion of free cash and applying to reduce the tax rate. Do we have any numbers forecasted on that at this point? Or is that going to be an outcome of the FinCom, right? Or with the FinCom discussion?
I want to interject, we're going to post on November 2nd to meet with the accountants as the recap process gets close to completion, and at that point, consider this a cordial invitation from the Finance Committee to the Board of Selectmen to come to this meeting, and at that point, we can decide how we wish to proceed.
Mhm.
Because hopefully at that time, we'll have some idea of what the tax rate could look like going forward.
Well, we kind of do now, but yes. Okay, so, gentlemen?
I'm in
Gary?
favor of putting that on.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm in favor.
What-
Okay,
Can I just ask,
yes.
what time on the 7th, or the 2nd, November 2nd? I can put it in the calendar.
7 o'clock, did I see?
Well, we always do 7:15.
Okay.
So, if we put you in for 7:30, that'd be fine.
We're already scheduled to meet with you. We did receive notification. The 8th. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the same thing,
Yeah, that's when the board is going to represent itself to you. If an
Yeah,
individual members want to go, that's one thing, but yeah,
yeah,
okay.
The 8th? What was
the
it?
8th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nothing's on the 2nd then.
So,
So there's nothing on the 2nd then.
no, they're meeting, but we're not on their agenda, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were, no? Oh, okay.
The
Okay,
The 8th.
so let's make this clear. We're meeting with the Finance Committee on November 8th. The Board of Selectmen is going to be posted for that meeting to meet with the Finance Committee. And if I got a day off, I'm a day off, but it's pretty much set.
It is
It is the 8th, thank you.
I know it's a Wednesday, I did see that.
Article 21 is $235,000 for the purchase of 3 Milford Street. Gary?
I'm in favor of putting that on.
Steve?
Yes, I think we'll put that on in light of the conversations we've had as far as where CMRPC is. Again, we'll let the voters decide on that one.
Okay. Article 22 is an article to accept Kiwanis Beach Road as a public way, and that's still in process.
It's going to be withdrawn.
It's being withdrawn. Okay, so Article 22 is withdrawn. Okay, Article 23 is the Board of Selectmen to petition the general court. This came from the Town Manager Act Committee, and they have 3 basically revisions, some of which, well, I'll just briefly explain them. One is a language change to the manager's job description. It's fairly brief. The other one is that the manager should be, the Board of Selectmen shall create a screening committee of 5 residents to assist in selection of candidates. Simple, it's very similar to what we did when Mr. Brindisi was hired. The other one is a bylaw to direct the Board of Selectmen to require enforcement by him or office employees subject to discretion, supervision are faithfully carried out. Language change to the town manager's job description, and then it's primarily a language change. And the last one is the Board of Selectmen shall appoint a current Upton resident-led committee to review the Town Manager Act as established every 5 years. And that should be made up, recommendations made by them to the Board of Selectmen, a committee made up of 7. So it's basically a language change. It's asking that there be a screening committee for any hiring of a town manager, and that every 5 years, we have a committee established to review the Town Manager Act. Gentlemen, Gary.
No comment, yes.
Yes, let's put it forward.
Okay, I've gone through the warrant, and I didn't dance a lot because it's pretty basic, but are there any questions from the board at this point? Gary?
No, sir.
Steve?
No.
Okay, I would ask Town Manager, anything on Town Manager Acts? I mean, on the warrant?
Nothing on the warrant.
Okay. General public, open it up to a question. There appears to be none. Okay, yes,
One question on the article.
please state your name.
Sorry, my name is Lynn Hagley, 10 Cycle Lane, Upton, Mass. On the article for the 25,000 for,
Please address the board. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What is that for?
To which
Is
article
it
was
for
it?
the article that addresses the 25,000 for Quantis Beach? What is that $25,000 for?
That's the limit, well, I'll let you go. It's a limited upgrade, but go ahead.
Right, that $25,000 will be a shared expense with the Recreation Commission, who's also going to contribute $25,000 to repair the non-compliant walkway from the upper parking lot down to the soccer fields.
So in all, in total, it will be 50,000?
That's correct.
Okay, wasn't understanding, thank you.
Yeah.
For the clarification.
Sure.
Okay, that means the board has, I would accept a motion for the board to approve the warrant as stated with the withdrawal, well, as discussed and carried forward with the discussion of the one article being withdrawn, which is Article 22.
I'll renumber that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we post the warrant with Article 22 withdrawn.
Second the motion.
That's unanimous action of the board. We will sign that warrant when it's ready. Now, you had new business you'd like to discuss, Derek?
We've already touched on one of the items, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about November's calendar, the Board of Selectmen schedule. As mentioned, the Finance Committee is going to be meeting on November 8th. We're scheduled to, well, the board is scheduled to meet on November 7th. So my first question is, do we still want to meet on November 7th as a separate board? Or do you want to have a joint meeting with Finance on November 8th meeting? Maybe like an hour in advance of the FinCom meeting, which starts at 7.
If our warrant was limited to, if our agenda was limited to 1 hour, it would make sense rather than meet 2 back-to-back nights, you know?
Right now, what we have slated is we're hoping to do the Technology Committee appointments
Mhm.
and the Fire EMS Advisory Committee appointments.
Okay, that seems light enough. I would be in favor of it. Gary, what do you think?
Yeah. I can-
Consolidate our meeting from the
Yes.
7th and 8th to the 8th. And we'll post where it's 7 with the FinCom. We could meet at 6 or even 5:30. I'm comfortable with whatever works. Excuse me, Mr. Flaherty, please.
We can back you up. Okay, 7:30, quarter 8,
No,
that works.
we'll have time.
I think
We'll
an
have
hour will be plenty of time.
Yes. So, Gary, you're all right with it?
Yeah, I think our typical meetings are 6.
Yeah.
And I think that hour would be fine. I'm in
Yeah.
favor.
If we run over a little, so be it, but we'll then recess to go to the FinCom meeting. So, we're all in agreement, we'll make
Yes.
that November 8th, so our agenda will change. Thank you.
I have one more item.
Yes.
So the second meeting of November would have been scheduled for November 21st. So town meeting is going to be held on the 14th, and then the board is going to hold its tax classification hearing on the 16th. So I'm thinking that it may not be necessary to meet on the 21st, and if necessary, we can put all business on the meeting on the 16th.
And being Thanksgiving week, that's not a bad idea.
Right.
So are we in agreement? We'll cancel the 21st and meet on the 16th, which will be 2 days after the special. Gentlemen? Oh, okay.
14th is- I think that works for me.
Yeah, I'll make it work.
Okay,
That's
good.
tight.
So
It's tight,
that's
but I
done? Okay,
That'd be it.
that's it. Okay, anything else from the general public? Well, at that, the board will adjourn at 5:24. Thank you.